So as usual, couldn't really find anything useful. What I did find out though is that from personal experience, because I didn't find anything useful, I just did it. A little bit of gas came out. That's because my gas tank's pretty much empty. So make sure your gas tank is almost virtually empty when you do this to make sure you don't spill. I spilled a little bit, but not a lot. So basically all you're gonna do now is you're gonna push this little pin and something might just fall over. And it's gonna pop it out. A little gas is gonna leak. And you're good to go. Now to prevent any more leaks, you're just gonna pick the gas tank up and lean it on a side where it's not gonna be exposed to the hole. I will show again from a distance. So now you're gonna want to pick it up like this, kind of like so, and you're gonna set it down. Now we're gonna test something really quick, just kind of a theory. We're gonna put it back down facing this way and see if it leaks any gas. But we're gonna do it on my mat, so let's do this. Okay. So the good news is you can have it basically dangling like this. No gas is going to come out. And you can like this, which is the angle you'd want to lay down if you're going to paint it. So that works out for me. So we're actually going to leave it like this. And we're going to set it back down on the blue tarp and keep it on the blue top. Now overall, that was no mess. It was very... And as you can see, we are now left with this, which I don't know if this will leak oil or fuel or anything like that. So I would kind of keep this, you know, kind of just where it's to be. You kind of see there's a foam thing here. Don't lose that because it kind of sits in there for protection. And so when we do so this next part is important, okay? These are the two sensors. Not that hard to figure out how to put them back in because they're size determined, so you really can't screw up on putting these sensors back in. So I would just kind of tuck them down over here for now so they're out of the way. So now, if we're going out, we can see there's the coolant line. Now this is a good thing I took the gating off because I was going to need to in order to access this to replace this line anyways. So it's a really good thing I took this off. Now, I'm pretty sure this, if I'm looking at this correctly, I think these are my spark plugs. I could be wrong, but I think these are my spark plugs. I think they are. I'm not 100% sure about that, but there are 4 of them, and I believe there's, let's see how many, there's 4 exhaust tubes, so I believe those have to kind of correspond. So I believe these are my spark plugs. So if I was going to replace these, it's good to know I have access to these now. I'm not going to. I might check on one of them later, but I won't spray them out quite just yet. Now, the things that we're going to have to mess with, you see these plugs right here? When we install a power commander, the power commander is going to mess with every single one of these plugs. So we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to how we do this, because this is what I meant by it's very finicky and very technical. There are so many different plugs, right, that can go wrong, that you can unplug by accident. You really want to make sure you know what you're doing, because there's a lot of electrical to this. Other than that, there are some other things here that we're going to pay attention to. I think this is that is my clutch cable right there. So I'm also going to be cleaning that and lubricating that up because that's also a little dirty. I think that's my starter right there, which, Jesus Christ, that is buried. That is so far in there. Or that might be a pump. I'm not sure. You know, obviously you got the gas line here, which disappears into this madness of different things. We got the main shock bolt. So obviously if you were going to disable the shock, you will need to take this off. And then there's also this guy I was talking about earlier. Like, we couldn't get a good view of it because I was looking at it through the crack, but this is what I was talking about. So the same thing as the one up front. This is what you need to take off for the exhaust. So obviously take the gas tank off. Very easy to access this, but it's not required. It just makes it a little easier. There was another sensor around here somewhere. It's somewhere in this quadrant. I don't know if it's that one, this one, or this one, or this one. There's like 4 of them, but one of these also is required for the power commander installation. So either way, this needed to be taken off. I'm glad it's off because now that makes our job easier. Now, as far as this goes, this is kind of like a clamp in and out, but I don't know if we're supposed to seal this or anything, if it's going to be exposed. I'm probably am, because I don't know if I'm supposed to let air into it for long or if there's like a rule. Again, I'm being overly cautious because I don't really know 100% about everything I'm doing. Oh, and here's that sensor thing I pushed in here. I tucked it in here so it would be out of the way, and I rubbed that with tape so that nothing would get on it or damage it if I ever needed it again. So that's right there, just so we all know. Everything else looks pretty tight. This is actually really cool to see this off. Very cool. So now we're actually going to go ahead and put all these bolts back in the holes that that they correspond to, including the big guy, just so that we don't lose them, especially the big guy, because there should be a washer, a little small one right here. Now obviously you can get this stuff, this little bits of pieces of hardware, from a store if for some reason you lost it. There you go. There's nothing to bolt onto the other side of it because that part came off with it and is attached. It's this little clip. So make sure you don't lose the clip. You can either take it off or you can leave it on the bike. I personally am just going to leave it because I don't want to lose it. But just keep that in mind. That's what that bolt mounts to, is that clip. Anyway, this is all 2014. I don't know if the newer models or the older models kind of correspond with this or match this in any way, but just remember, this is 2014. Very particular. I think it's very particular anyways. But there you go. My bike is now completely stripped down to where I wanted it. Now I have all the room to upgrade it. I have all the access for Power Commander. I have all the things off I want in order to actually fill it up. I mean, repaint everything. And I have access, well, probably even more than I need access to, like radiator hose and all that stuff. So I can really just put everything I want on there. I have a huge list, dumping about maybe, I don't know, maybe like, I think it's like 35 grand or more. No, sorry, not 35 grand, like 3,500, just in parts, just in everything like that. And that's also not including, an oil change, oil, coolant, because I'm going to probably want to redo all that, probably even get better coolant to help cool the bike down, maybe more like high efficient. I don't know if this is like stock coolant. I don't know. Like I said, the guy who owned this guy bike for me did a million things to this thing I don't know about. So we're just going to kind of start everything from fresh. So that way I know it's good. Even if it is good, we're just going to do it again. Also, like I said, I'm going to really detail clean it. Not like go anal, but there are certain parts of the bike I'm definitely going to scrub down with the toothbrush and really wipe down and really just clean it and make sure nothing's leaking. Everything looks really good. Obviously, the next step for me is to change the oil, empty the coolant out, change the hoses, fill the coolant back up, repaint all the stuff, install the Power Commander, install the new pipe. Once all that's done and the new air filter's in, I can boot back up the CPU, put the gas tank, put everything kind of like, put the bottom fairing back on, put some things, start putting some things back together. Once the air filter's changed, I can button back up the front again. Right now it's just hold on by zip ties temporarily. And then once all the radiator stuff and all that's done and the chain's done and all that's done, then I'm actually going to, by then all this should be painted, and then we can start throwing everything back on, throwing the EC back on, connecting everything, and then the final and most important test, putting the new battery in and firing it up and hoping it starts. I'm at the point now where I've disconnected so much stuff that if I did something wrong, it's going to be a pain in the ass to figure it out. And I do not want to have to send this into a shop. Now, the good thing is I was very careful, particular, took a lot of pictures of what I needed to remember, and it should be pretty easy to remember. I'm not too worried about like fucking anything up because I was very careful, but just in case, we'll just cross our fingers. But once the battery's back in, everything's correctly connected, reconnected again, everything should start up like a brand new bike, except we'll have a Power Commander on it, new stuff, and then we'll do a sound check and all that stuff later on. So this is gonna be a work in progress. This will be a really fun video that I'm gonna be doing, and it's all gonna happen with over a couple months. And then in 1 month, we're gonna order all the parts, install it, paint all this stuff, and then put it all back on. I'm probably gonna keep this, but I could probably sell it. I detached it very cleanly, so if you have the original stock stuff and you just want to keep the stock muffler but you need a new one, I will clean this up and I will probably give it to you, or I'll keep it as a spare. Let me know if you guys are interested in something like that, or if I should even do it, or should I just get rid of it, or just keep it. I honestly don't know. I kept everything on it really intact, so really if I wanted to, I could just reinstall it, except I don't have the cables. They were actually garbage. A lot of them were actually cut and severed, and I actually had to damage some of it to get it off. So realistically, I couldn't install back my bike, but if someone else had my bike and did not mess with their, the cables in the front and the back, they could easily just throw this on and have a basic newish stock pipe remounted back on their bike. Self-explanatory, but you get my point. Everything else is in good condition. I'm going to try to keep it in good condition, and I'll try to clean it also, but not my top priority. Last thing we're going to talk about in this video is the plastic I was talking about. So this is the color blue I want to do for my entire bike. So this is the original color. It's just a basic plastic, no primer, nothing. And this was about like 3 or 4 coats of paint with a spray can, and it did a really good job. Even to this day, it looks really good. You can even tell from just the camera that the quality isn't horrible. I mean, obviously it could be better because you can see all the rock chips that I got, but overall it held up pretty good, even with some scratches from the broken mirror, that when the mount broke off it started swiveling everywhere. That's what that did that, but even there it still held up pretty good. So I'm really excited and I'm really confident with this much stuff, and that was me half-assing it. It wasn't even like full on me actually primering it and doing it the right way. It's going to turn out really good, but this is kind of an example of what the bike will look like when it's done. This is the color, and the color is actually the spray can paints. This is the paint we're going to be using. It's called Dipley Color Perfect Match Premium Automotive Paint. It's just a really good paint. The most important thing is it's scratch, nick, and chip repair, and it's basically, it's also meant for being outside. That's the important thing too. I'm gonna try to see. I'm pretty sure it should be able to be outside. It's not indoor paint is what I'm getting at, but anyways, because I've powered washed it and it held up really good too. So this is what we're using, right? And then for anything we're painting black, I do also have this. Now this is just Rust-Oleum Custom Premium Chrome Paint. It's colored chrome, so it's black chrome, so it's a really shiny black, but it's really good, and it's meant for the outside, interior and exterior durability, and it's not like a wrapper, like a dip. It's straight up paint, and it's Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum's a really good brand. So this is what I'm gonna be using to accent some things. Some things are gonna stay black, and I might even paint them black to make them pop more, or to add more detail. Like, I was thinking about taking off that back thing and paint it black, or just overall the plastics that I'm going to leave black, just paint it over with like 1 or 2 coats of this, just to really just make it look good after I clean it all up. But there's this too. I probably won't use it, but it's here if I want to. So anyway, so this is kind of where we're going with all of it. I'm really excited. I have a lot of plastics to paint. Some things going to replace, for example, the seat I'm actually going to be replacing. And yeah, so last thing we're going to do is we're actually going to take this out and kind of dump the gasoline outside, so it's in the dirt, and so it's not going to catch fire or anything like that, and really drain this thing so it's completely empty, so I don't have to worry about gas or getting on anything like that. We're going to cover back up the bike, make sure everything's wrapped up like it's supposed to be, and we're good to go. I'll make another video after I'm done with this one, about a couple months, maybe just doing some final walkthroughs, making sure everything looks good, maybe cleaning things up, tightening things, and I'll also record my process of buying all the stuff. And when I get it, I'm super excited for when it actually shows up my doorstep. I am so stoked to finally have all this stuff show up at my doorstep. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. For now, let's dump the gasoline out of this, and we'll basically call it that. In fact, actually, I won't show that. That's pretty boring. But there we go, guys. This is the basic rundown. We have a really fun bike here, and we're going to do a lot of work to it. I'm really excited to share my experience with you and to walk through and explain a lot of it as we're going through it, so you yourself can learn how to do basic maintenance. And just so now you understand, I mean, it looks really complicated, but if you take things one step at a time, it's really easy. I realistically could have done this whole thing in one day. I was lacking some tools, but realistically, it's very easy. The hardest thing about this bike is the tail end. Those plastics snap together in a really particular way, and I'm afraid I'm gonna have a hard time getting it back on, but we're gonna see. Either way, I'm super stoked for everything to come together like it already has been. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like or subscribe if you want to. Comment if you would. I would appreciate some positive feedback and give me some ideas what I could do, or some things I may have missed, important details, whatever it is. Just hit me up, let me know. That is what we are together. We're here together, Moto Fam for life. I'm sorry, I'm just saying stupid shit now, but anyways, so really excited for this. It's gonna be really fun project, and I have a lot of fun things I'm gonna do to it, including the most fun and creative things could be the paint. So overall, stay tuned, guys. More cool videos coming out soon with the next couple months. Next video is probably gonna be more of an intro to the channel instead of more about this, but this is gonna be kind of an intro to a certain segment. Every time I do a different segment on my channel, I'm gonna have an intro video explaining what that part of the channel is going to be about, and then of course we're going to have something in that video included, which is going to involve the activity we're going to be discussing, so you guys have an idea of where we're going at. And of course, if something doesn't really kind of sing to you guys' ears, and if I don't like it, it's not going to happen. But there's going to be a bunch of different subjects we're going to talk about: home improvement and basic knowledge of electric, plumbing and drywall and painting and all that stuff is going to be included in future videos also, so stay tuned for that. I am super excited for everything that's going to happen. It's going to take a little bit, but once the time is here, once I have the money, that right there is going to be a sexy looking machine, and I'm so excited to build it with you guys. Thank you guys for watching. My name is NGS Everything, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.